Click the play button.
I see that red dot.
Is this podcast number 3?
Yeah.
Podcast numero trace.
Good job, Jared.
Good job, Jared.
Let me hold this thing.
Please.
I don't want you to hold it.
I'm
You're
gonna hold it,
pegging the
Max.
whole time.
Yeah.
No,
Got
got
it.
it.
Hang on, I'm falling into a crack there.
I'll go and post it on B-roll.
All right. Y'all ready or what?
No.
He's trying to post on B-roll.
No, I'm not.
Looks like you are.
I'm
All
looking
right.
at somebody's. We'll figure that out later.
Are you good?
I'm good to go.
All right, guys. So I got some notes written down on what we should talk about. This is the Deer Tales 1.
Good.
All right. So first, we're going to just go through our first deer ever story. All right. I'll start it off. Huh?
Oh, you're starting it off great.
Oh,
You
mine's
can
amazing.
help me with mine.
Oh yeah, I was there for David's first. Okay.
So
So,
strong here. And then it gets
What?
really weak as you go down the line.
Yeah, it does.
all right. So what? When I was 11 or 12.
I was 10.
You were 10. So I had to be
You
11.
were 11 because you were 11.
All right. My first bow season ever. I got like a bow for Christmas when I was 10, I guess. And I probably just turned 11
Yeah,
then.
you had.
So I got a bow for Christmas when I was 10. Shot it all summer and into the fall. Started bow hunting with it. Well, it was on like 30 pounds and wasn't the most ideal. I sucked at shooting. Had no idea what I was doing.
We all did.
Yeah, that's when we got a bow the same year for Christmas because we were just getting into hunting. It was like first season ever hunting. So, hunted with it a few times. Never saw any deer because like first time my dad got back into hunting and stuff. He hunted like 20 years before that, and it was like he just kind of like stopped hunting and started fishing all the time. So, his good friend David Dudley, he took me and my dad and like to his property, put us up in a tree stand, and just told us to sit there till dark. He gave us his crossbow, and so we're sitting there, and it's probably like the last like actual minute of shooting light, and we hear these deer coming up behind us through this thicket, and so he's like, all right, get ready, he's coming on the right, and it steps out, and it's a doe. And at the time, no one told me where in the world to shoot a deer, like where to aim on its body or anything like that. So
Yeah.
no one told me where to aim, and if you've ever looked through a crossbow scope, it's got like the 4 or 5 lines going through it. So, like, no one told me what that meant or anything. So literally, I just put all the lines in the center of the deer's body, which is like kind of like where the rib cage is. And at the time, the deer was 20 yards. I know this now, but the top little line was on its spine. So I smoked it right in the spine. And then the deer literally falls over, and I'm just like, I got it, Dad, I got it. Like, I just thought I smoked this deer. Like, I had no idea what was going on. And so the deer kind of just like crawled away. And I was just so excited. I just thought it was dead. I just thought that was it. And so we got down, and then we went back to the truck, put the stuff away, and then like my dad had to have some sort of idea that the deer was still alive, and I didn't. Because then we went to a gas station. We sat there and ate for like 45 minutes. Went to Moore's and got some hot dogs. And just sat around and just ate for a little bit. And then a couple more people came, and we went to go look for this deer. And we're blood trailing it. And there's just a ton of blood just everywhere. And Dudley has this big old spotlight. And he's shining it. He's like, oh, I see a deer. And like, you could see it like thrashing around and stuff. And he's like, it's still alive. I was like, all right, so what do we got to do? And then he has just this giant flashlight in his hands and then a knife in the other. And he turns around to me. He's like, here, hold this. Hands me the knife. And he goes, when I say go, we're going to run up there and we're going to cut its throat. I'm going to pin it down and put it in a headlock, and you're going to slit its throat. I'm like, I'm going to what? And then literally, so he's just like, all right, go. And he takes off like sprinting at this deer. and he like jumps on it and puts it in a headlock. He's like, cut his throat, cut his throat, cut his throat. And then so like little 11-year-old me is sitting there just over this deer like the knife going like this, trying to cut its throat. Like it was the craziest thing ever.
I
like
wish there was a video of that somewhere.
like I wish there was a video too. And then like the funniest part is like after I did that, we dragged the deer out in the open to get a picture with it, and it was a doe, by the way. And so like dragged deer out into the open to get a picture with it, and like I did not want to touch the thing. Like literally in the picture, my dad's holding the deer up, and then I'm just like sitting kind of like beside him, just like not wanting to touch it. And then like Dudley starts like teaching me how to gut the deer, and then he's like pointing at something. I lean in to look, and he grabs my arm and sticks it like elbow deep inside this deer, like while he's gutting it, and then like pretty much taught me how to gut the deer from there. So got over the fear of like touching it and stuff, and then went back to his house and he taught me how to like cut it up and put all the meat in the cooler, taught us how to cook it, everything like that, and then the story just kind of goes on from there. I mean,
For like a few years, every time I touched a deer, and then I like my eyes would get like real swollen, almost like swollen shut. I was like allergic to them for like 3 years. It seemed like.
really?
I bet that
Yeah,
was.
I had to wear gloves if I wanted to touch a deer.
I mean,
That hasn't happened in a very long time.
well, now I wear gloves when I like gut them, just because like I'll have
Well, no,
cuts on my
that's-
hand.
If I just touch their fur, my eyes will like get real swollen and itchy
That's weird. That's really weird.
for like 3-4 years.
All right, Dave, I'm gonna hand this off to you.
All right. So, a couple months after Jared shot his first deer, he shot his in October, so it was December. It was firearm season, and I can't remember how it all came about, but I ended up hanging out with Jared that day, and we ended up going over to the same property he killed his first deer at.
Same stand.
Yeah, same tree stand. And I'd never shot a shotgun before. And I had a 20 gauge shotgun with buckshot, and Jared had a 20 gauge with buckshot, and Jared's dad was with us, so it was 3 of us in a double stand. And all I was told was, what was I told? I was told to aim about 2 inches high, higher than I thought, but I did know like you aim center mass right behind the shoulder. And he said, hold the gun tight because it's gonna kick hard. And I didn't really know what that meant. I just figured, when the time, like, you just don't expect to shoot a deer the first time you ever go deer. Why are you laughing at me?
No, I'm not laughing at you. Max told me something. He said something.
And so
Well, I'll tell you after.
we were sitting in the stand for about less than half an hour. And Jared's on the left, Jared's dad's in the middle, and I'm on the right. And here comes this buck from behind us. And Jared's dad's like, big buck, don't move. And Jared stands up and like turns around and tries to see this deer. And he's like, where's it at? I can't see it. And the deer didn't know we were there somehow or another. And I stayed relatively still. I'm 10 and Jared's 11. We're not still in general, even though we think we are. And so this deer comes on my side of the tree stand. So Jared's dad hands me the gun. He says, hold it tight. And I was like, okay. And the deer stops. And there's this little pine sapling right behind the shoulder. But if I aimed about 2 or 3 inches higher than I wanted to, I would have shot just over this little pine sapling. So I was like, oh, I got a good shot because I'm going to shoot over this pine tree that was, I guess, in the way a little bit. But I shoot, and the deer jumps about 3 feet in the air and donkey kicks, like smoked him. But we didn't know that. I didn't know that. So then I shoot, hand the gun back to Jared's dad. Deer runs off. And then we're sitting there, we're all shaking like leaves because adrenaline. And a couple 10, 20 minutes later, Dudley shows up and is like, so did you kill it? And we're like, well, we shot. And then we figure out that we never called my dad to tell him like I was going to go deer hunting or anything. So we call my dad and tell him that I just shot a pretty nice buck, and he got real fired up. So he came out there, and we went and we got a 4-wheeler and some lights, and we went and found the deer. He ran 50 yards, shot him at 46 yards. And that was the start of my hunting career. Now that deer is on our wall above the TV.
They've got his big break, I guess.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. The deer's on the wall. There's a wall hanger. A solid 120 inches.
If that.
First deer was a wall hanger.
No, it is. It's right at it.
What?
It's like
120.
121.
The deer's 120 inches?
Yeah.
Good God almighty.
Might have to take a
Looks a
ruler,
lot
too.
smaller than that.
It
It's
does.
a whole lot smaller than 120 inches.
All
I
right.
want to remeasure that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will.
All right, Ty.
All right.
Let's hear it.
So my first deer story, it was me and my dad. We were in our ground blind. We didn't have it on the big wooden stand at this point. It was just in the middle of the field beside the hay bales. And we had gone before, and nothing. And it's muzzleloader. I think it's early muzzleloader because the rut was still in it.
Is it
It was
eight-pointer?
opening
Yeah,
day.
this was the 8-pointer.
You killed the same day I killed one.
Yeah.
It was like November.
Was it opening day?
I
Yeah,
remember
because
the
I
date.
passed
It was
up on a
November
spike that
2nd.
morning.
November 2nd?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, November
How
2nd.
long ago was this?
Gosh.
2015.
Holy cow. Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, it was. I can pull up the picture right now.
It's been 7 years? No. Yeah.
That was a-
Holy cow. Well, anyway, opening day of muzzleloader, I guess, in 2015. It was me and my dad, and we had seen this buck. It was a 8-point buck, and I don't know how big it was. I can't remember.
I don't remember.
But it's on my wall now, because my dad said he would buy my first mount, so it's on my wall in my room. Wasn't the biggest deer to mount, but anyway, so we're sitting in this blind on our property, and we've got a good ways, and then so it's our blind, then there's a barbed wire fence, and then another property. And we see this deer on this other property coming this way, and the blind is facing this way with the hay bales behind us. So my dad, just doing what he does, gets out a grunt call and blows on it for like 10 minutes straight. This deer, we see it go down, we're like, oh, that deer's gone. And then we see a doe jump the fence, hop the fence, and come over our property and starts coming up into the field where the blind was.
Sorry.
And next,
2018.
yeah, I was going to say 2015.
November 3rd.
November 3rd, 2018. Anyway,
I was
so,
gonna say I was like 11
yeah,
when he shot that thing.
yeah. So anyway, then we see the buck jump over the fence after the doe. And the doe runs off in the field, goes this way. And then the buck, my dad's still sitting there with the grunt call, just going to town on it. And it's like in a beeline straight at us, heads down. I mean, it's coming right at us. And my dad's like, you know where to aim, just shoot. And it was almost a straight on shot at this thing. I mean, it was slightly quartering, but I mean, it got to like 10 yards, picked its head up, and then boom. And it ran maybe 15 yards into the woods, and then we found it. And the whole gutting story was, my grandpa was there. He said, I'm doing this one for you. You're watching me. You're going to help me a little bit. Next time, you're on your own. So, been on my own since, I guess. But we got it gutted, and we took it somewhere and got a bunch of summer sausage and stuff off of it. But now it's on my wall like David's first buck.
Yeah.
So, that was my first deer story.
Axe
Axe, your
Newman.
turn.
Well, mine is completely different from all of y'all's. I was much younger. I was like probably 6 or 7 years old.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Youth weekend, whatever it was, youth day. In a ground blind with my dad. I'm laying on the ground apparently, asleep. Dad wakes me up, doe out here, shoot it. And I was like, all right, shot it, dead. Don't know what happened after that. Probably went back to sleep, but that was my first deer.
Golly, that was the quickest story ever.
Well, it was great. I can go ahead and tell you the second deer I killed. It was also a doe. Dad woke
Doe
me.
manager.
Dad woke.
Times have changed.
Dad woke me up. Hey, there's a doe out here. You want to shoot it? I was like, yeah, sure. Shot it. That's the end of that.
All right, sleepyhead.
And then probably went a few years without killing one. And then the next one, I missed a pretty nice 6-pointer. And then leaving, went back up to the house. I mean, just mad at the world, upset. Look in the backyard, there's a doe. You want to shoot the doe? I was like, yeah, I'll shoot the doe. Shot it.
The doe manager.
And then I don't remember much. I don't remember what happened after that. I think that's when I killed my first buck. Is that what we're saying? First deer or first buck?
deer.
When are we getting into first buck?
We're gonna get
I already
like
got into that.
biggest
Yeah,
buck.
yeah.
Well, my first buck was a 5-pointer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
Well,
Your biggest buck is your
my
first
biggest buck.
Yeah. The one I
I
shot with the
was-
bow last year was
Yo, I'm
size.
talking.
Sorry, keep
It's a
going.
podcast.
Sorry,
we're
Max.
good.
Oh, here we go.
Well, my first buck is like a 5-pointer. I don't even know if it was that big. Well, anyways, me and my dad are in a double stand. I forget how old I was. I don't know, but shot it with a muzzleloader, and it ran off. And that's the first deer I ever had run off after I shoot it. And I was like, oh, I missed. Let's go back home, I missed. And I was like, all upset. I was probably crying. I don't know. I missed this deer. It ran off. And Dad was like, we need to go look for blood. And I was like, what are you talking about? It's gone. I missed it. And it ran. And he's like, no, we need to look for blood. Well, we found blood, then tracked the deer. Found him.
Is it your first time tracking a deer? Because
Yeah.
all the other ones dropped.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I need to find that picture. Or
Yeah.
see what year that was.
Dang.
Because it was.
My first buck was a 5-pointer too. I shot with a crossbow though.
You were jacked when you shot that deer.
Dude, because I hunted it for 3 days. Like, it showed we're at the same tree stand, same exact situation, 3 days in a row. It's like these two does coming out, and he was checking them out. And it, like, the third day, it finally worked out. And then I think the day after that was my birthday, and I shot a doe. So, it was pretty fun. I mean, it literally looked like a spike, but it was just a 5-pointer.
That's
And
fine.
it was just old as all get out and just fat.
Bad genes.
Bad genetics. Cold buck. Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah, cold buck.
Good job, Jerry.
That's too
Managing the herd.
Those words are too big for me.
All right. So have y'all ever like missed like a big buck and you just like got so upset about it? Have you?
Oh yeah. Well,
Let's
kind
hear
of.
it.
I didn't like. I actually hit it at least once.
Oh, is that the 6-pointer you shot with the muzzleloader twice?
2016 is when I killed my first buck.
Yeah. So
Just say you were
All right.
wondering.
so we were at this property. It's a pretty big chunk of land, and I went and it was muzzleloader season, so I went and sat in this big homemade tripod stand, basically looking in this pasture, and and behind you there's a creek like 10 yards behind you, and you can't, it's too thick, you can't see the deer behind you, but you could hear them like walking and splashing around in the creek, and you hear them just like making all this noise, but you cannot see them. And so and there's a creek there, so it's hard to hear anything. And all of a sudden, about an hour before dark or so, I heard what I thought was like a stick break all the way across the field. I was like, well, I don't see the deer. So I gave it a few minutes, nothing happened. Pull out the old grunt call. And I don't know how to communicate with deer, so I just blow into this grunt call a little bit.
Going to town.
And next thing I know, here comes this nice 6-point, just like straight at me. I was like, oh my gosh. And I know, I got a muzzle loader, just be patient. He's going to turn broadside and I'm going to smoke him. So he comes out there and he gets to 20 yards and starts turning broadside. He's quartering towards me just a little bit, but it's a good, clean 20, 30 yard shot. I shoot, and his front left leg just goes up, and he kind of doesn't use it hardly. He's like hobbling out of the field. And I'm like, oh, I smoked him. But he goes about 50 yards and stops. And I'm in this blind where he can't really see me. And I'm like, well, crap, I've got more bullets and he's still in this field. So I take and reload my muzzle loader real quick. And he's still standing there. And I give him another one at like 100 yards. And then he takes and runs off into the woods. And at this point, Jared and his dad are both, like, I haven't looked at my phone, but they've been texting me, like, because there's, like, a minute in between my shots. Like, did you kill it? What happened? And all this stuff. And then Jared's dad ended up shooting at a deer that night, too. So we were really shooting at the deer. And so I don't remember what happened, but I was like, I don't know. I know my deer's dead. Like I broke its front shoulder. It looked like, and I just was very confident. I shot 250 caliber bullets into that deer. Its front left leg wasn't working. Like that deer was dead in my mind. So Jared's dad can't find this doe that he shot at. So we went and looked for that for a minute. Never found blood, the deer, nothing. And so then we go and start looking for this buck that I shot, and we found maybe 5 little pin drops of blood, and looked and looked and looked, never found anything. Then Jared's dad and Dudley went back the next day and did a grid search, never found it. And then about a year later, they went and logged that property, and the people cutting all the trees down found the 6-point up in the same creek bottom where we had last blood at. And that kind of made me upset because it was a pretty good deer.
Did you cry, David?
No.
We don't cry at deer. Max is the only one here that's cried at because he missed deer or like whatever.
What do you mean?
You and your JP cry. You told me y'all cry when you miss deer.
No, that's JP.
JP can't even see a deer. JP's coming on the next Deer Tales
Yeah,
podcast.
get JP on the next deer.
Dude,
Tales.
JP's missed and not seen like so many deer you wouldn't believe. The kid's like half blind with glasses on.
And turkeys.
Don't
Yeah,
get me started
that's
on
nuts.
all that.
That is nuts.
I can't even stand it.
Does anybody else have any missed deer stories?
Oh,
Max?
I have a good one. There was like, I was hunting this property, and I know there's a bunch of big bucks. And I'm literally sitting there with a 30-30, just like on this big rock, facing down this road. It's like a little hill. It kind of like drops down, then it's like a straight flat shot for like 130 yards down this like road wide enough you could drive like 2 trucks on it. But there's like on one side it's like 20-foot tall trees, on the other side it's like a fence row, and then like 30-foot tall trees, and the deer like just jumping the fence. There's a couple little gaps. They jump the fence or go under it and then just cross. So like if I have a shot, I think it's gonna be like 1 second or 2 second shot. But it's like, so I hear something over like right beside me to my left, and it kind of like goes down to this little bottom, and I hear something walking up. I'm like, oh my gosh, something's coming right to me. It's gonna come out and try to cross the road right where I am. So like I grab the 30-30, cock the hammer back, click the safety off. I'm just pointing in that direction, just waiting for this thing to come over the hill. I was just in my mind, I just imagined this like pretty buck just poke its head over, stare at me, and I was just gonna pound it right in the throat and just drop it. And so this deer does exactly that. It walks up over that hill, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's a giant. Like just a big old 8-pointer. And this thing's coming like straight at me head on. And it just stops and looks at me, and the thing's like 30 yards. And so I just went for like the frontal shot. I should have shot it like in the neck, but I ended up shooting it kind of like right above the brisket, I guess. Or what is that what you call it?
Yeah.
So like I don't know. Either like skim the side of it or something, because I think I found hair, but I was never able to like find blood or the deer. So it's like I was so upset. Like I was like, I killed that deer. I know it. But I mean, I don't know what to say. I was so upset. I knew for sure that was like picture perfect, and it should have died.
It should have been dead.
I killed one in my yard. I had an old lady yell at me saying, I'm going to call the police on you if you don't leave.
That's funny.
I found it.
The only missed deer story I have, and it wasn't even really a miss. I didn't miss a deer. I mean, not really. I was shooting at a doe. It was muzzleloader, and it was a doe in front of me. He's like, you know what? I'm tired of not shooting anything, letting them walk. So I go put the gun. It was probably 15 yards from where I was sitting, and the cap doesn't even go off. Nothing goes off, and like nothing. The hammer just goes.
I was on the phone with you when that happened.
Yeah. I mean, I really wasn't upset. I don't know. Kind of saved me time. For being honest,
I would have been.
I wasn't that mad. Because, I mean, I could have literally gone on my back deck the next day and killed one. So, I wasn't that mad.
Max?
Come on.
I actually don't.
Really?
Not really.
The first deer I ever missed with a bow, I got real upset, and I had no reason to be upset.
When was that? Which one was that?
Out of the treehouse
Which one was it?
with the bear bow. Didn't even have the Hoyt yet. First deer I ever shot at with the bow too.
Was that with you?
Oh, we were all there, but I was in there in the stand by myself.
Oh.
It was 30 yards. We weren't gonna hit anything at 30 yards, but I don't
Yeah.
know. I was like, how did I miss it? But looking back on it, I know exactly why I missed it because I was not proficient enough with a compound bow. Yeah, that was the problem.
Oh, goodness.
Bite.
No, probably the only missed opportunity I have is, I don't even know. I was pulling up my bow and saw Big Willis running around.
Oh, yeah, getting in the trees. I think you said something about that last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. That's about it.
That and you were in Hatteras when you walked under your stand the one time.
Yeah, that's also a missed opportunity. Thanks a lot, David.
No problem.
Oh, goodness. Well, I mean, I guess it kind of just... That's it for Deer Tales 1.
Deer Tales numero 1.
Yeah.
Got any
We
closing
didn't
thoughts?
talk about big bucks yet.
That would be Deer Tales number 2.
What do you mean, big bucks?
Your biggest buck.
Yeah, I already talked about that one.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, well, I mean, mine, I shot it on youth day in this, like, freaking loaded field.
That was cool.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Yeah, it was like 250 yard shot with the 280, and I just absolutely drilled it.
Well, that's pretty sick.
When you called me, I didn't believe you at
It was
first.
a giant, like, 9-pointer. It's like 160 inches, or
Probably.
somewhere around there.
Honestly, I don't even know which one's my biggest. Either the one I killed in my yard or the one I killed
When you're shooting them in your yard, you shoot them with a crossbow or gun?
crossbow.
Yeah.
I'd have some mad neighbors if I fired off a 308 in the yard.
I bet.
It'd
I
be
was just wondering.
hilarious. It'd be hilarious.
You would have the cops called on you then.
Oh, but probably my biggest buck. Big 8-pointer. It might have been I think it was my second year hunting by myself. And I was hunting with the muzzleloader. I don't really know much about the muzzleloader anyways. It was a new muzzleloader to me. And Dad said, if you just put the crosshairs on where you want to shoot, it'll hit them there. I was like, okay. Well, the muzzleloader is sighted into probably 100 yards. And the back of the field is 134 or something like that. Anyways, the 8-pointer was in the back of the field. Well, I saw him. He was broadside. Put the crosshairs where I wanted it and shot. Well, the bullet drops, of course, when it's sighted in at 100 and it's at 134. And hit it in a very bad spot, but it died the next morning. We had to find it. Probably tracked them. I don't know. It was a long ways, but we found him. But Dad kind of screwed me on that one.
So where did it hit it?
Exactly. It was lined up right behind the shoulder. It was just
Yeah.
low.
So it didn't hit its heart.
No, it did not hit his heart.
Huh.
But it was a perfect shot if I would have aimed higher.
Was it as low as the one you shot in your yard?
No, I don't even want to get to that one. That's a whole different
Deer tail's
story.
That's a different lowness.
Yeah. That's a crossbow and a no rangefinder type deal.
No, you don't need a rangefinder.
Oh, I don't have a rangefinder right now.
You just got to have a good guesstimator, I guess.
Yeah. First deer ever with a bow I killed didn't have a rangefinder.
See?
Yeah.
You don't need it.
It was a little target too.
If you're comfortable with shooting.
Oh, dude, it was 20 yards.
Yeah, I smoked
It was a fawn.
I smoked it.
Gosh, you shot 2 deer that day.
Yeah, it did.
Shot one with a crossbow in the morning with me, and then you
That morning was awesome.
you shot one a fawn the afternoon in a ground blind.
Yep.
What's up with you and fawns, Dave?
Yeah, every year.
Hey, only one this year.
That's terrible.
How?
That's terrible.
Oh God.
Only one this
I don't
year.
want to
though,
do
Max.
this.
Why would you shoot fawns?
It's a dog.
You said what?
I would venture to say that some of the deer I've killed have been smaller than your average dog.
That's terrible.
Well, the deer needs to grow faster.
Oh my gosh.
All right, let's just wrap it up.
Could you
there.
at least shoot
Let's-
a mature
no,
deer?
Bite.
Not like
Let's wrap
a
it up
little
there.
baby.
Once a year. I'll shoot.
All
a
right,
mature
before the
deer.
argument begins,
No,
let's
it's-
Once
wrap
a
this thing
year
up
you
here.
shoot
The
a
argument's done now.
once a year you shoot a mature deer. The rest are babies. That's what you just said.
I'll shoot at least one mature deer a year. I shot like 5 little ones last year.
Well, dude,
God.
he wants a golf course. They don't get bigger because
It
there's
doesn't
so
matter.
many. No, it does because they
Yeah, it
can't
does
get bigger
matter.
because there's so many.
He got the golf course last year.
Exactly.
killed
All the
5 there,
deer there are
apparently.
like the same size. They're tiny.
Yeah.
Like he shot the biggest one and like could put it on my shoulders and just carry it out. Like it was so small.
And button bucks. This dude destroys
I
them.
didn't
things.
Yes,
kill one
you
of
have.
them last. Oh, I did kill one of those last year.
Hope that none of them guys watch this. They'll be pissed. 'Cause
Just cut them out. Just you can cut this out. Edit it out.
It's good practice.
But
All right.
they got
Next
mad at me.
topic.
If
We're
they
gonna-
found out, and they're gonna be fired up.
Be pissed.
We doubled up though.
We doubled up. Heck yeah, son.
That's for another. That's a
We're
different
gonna
story
double up
though.
Wednesday.
We are.
Yeah.
Are you going to? All right, we'll figure that out. All right, we gotta wrap this thing up here.
David shoots small deer.
Podcast here.
Well, small baby deer. So tell your neighborhood fawns to watch out.
Yeah, that's the truth. Tell them to watch out. I'm coming for them.
Keep your dogs and small deer on leashes. This man is coming for them.
That's bad.
Okay. Deer Tales #2 coming soon.
Coming soon.
See ya.
See you next time.
Mic drop.
Boom.
Boom.
See you. See you.
Say it.